This is part 2 of our time of exploring desert life in the United States. Part 2 has its share of complications and realizations for us, so you're going to want to stick around for that. If you haven't watched part 1 of this series yet, hit pause, go back and watch that first. And while you're at it, maybe throw us a like and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. And so, without any further ado, I give you part 2 of our life in the desert. On our way from Utah to California, we decided to make a stop for the afternoon in none other than Las Vegas, Nevada. And neither of us are gamblers and we weren't spending the night, so it wasn't like we were going to restaurants or seeing a show. We more just wanted to see the grand spectacle that it is. And even though we were there during the day, it did not disappoint, aside from it being 105 fucking degrees outside. Now, a fun side story that comes out of our time in Las Vegas is that upon learning that's where we were, my mom called me and asked if Karen and I were there to elope. And given the circumstances of our being there, it really wasn't an unrealistic thing to think, but no, we did not. Sorry about that, Mom. Anywho, unmarried, we continued on our way to California and eventually made it to Joshua Tree later that night, but not without some complications, of course. Oh, good morning. We're just out here, Joshua Tree, first morning, just, enjoying my coffee and my I'm a happy camper mug. And, we realized something, that my bike now has 2 flat tires. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it have 2? Only had 1 flat tire yesterday. Haven't ridden it. Now it's got 2. Could have been with the incidents we had yesterday with the bikes. Alright, the wind is really bad in this clip, so I'm going to give you sort of the lowdown on what happened. Basically, my bike wasn't secured all the way on our bike rack, which normally wouldn't have been a huge deal, but because I had a flat tire, there wasn't enough counter pressure to keep the bike in place under the lock, so the bike fell down while we were driving. Doing so, it broke off the piece of this fin that holds the bike tire in place, and we had been driving for a few minutes before we realized any of this. So, it's clearly dragging along the road. There's still a good chance that it just rips it.
It could, but it's worth a shot. We have like an hour left. If we could just get to the place.
I know.
If it just gets us there, we can figure it out when we get there.
Yeah. I don't really know, but there's a very good chance my bike does not leave California. I'll share more of my thoughts on the actual town of Joshua Tree later in this video, but for now, suffice it to say, it's an interesting place. So as you would imagine, the main reason we came to this area in the first place was to explore Joshua Tree National Park, a frankly stunning landscape that serves as the collision point between both the Colorado and the Mojave deserts. Our first morning in the park was spent exploring the areas that contain large boulders of all shapes and sizes. And the trails leading to some of these rocks are aptly named: Skull Rock, Split Rock, Tulip Rock, and though the names are quite accurate, not everyone is totally impressed with the actual rocks themselves.
There's another split rock right over there. They're all split.
There is an argument to be made that they are all split.
I actually thought the ones that we saw walking to the trail where they looked like there was gems. That's what I thought was
Gems?
They're not gems, but it was split and there was like a different design.
Okay. Opinions on giant rocks notwithstanding, the park is extremely beautiful and I highly recommend anybody go check it out for themselves. It does elicit, at least in my opinion, somewhat of an otherworldly feeling similar to what we had in Bryce Canyon National Park, just a little bit different. Wrapping up our first morning in the park, we made our way down to the Chala Cactus Garden, I think that's how you say that at least, as well as a side mission to drive up to Keys View, where on a clear day you're able to gaze out over the San Andreas Fault Line and catch glimpses of the Salton Sea, Coachella Valley, Palm Springs, and even the San Jacinto Peak. Oh, and I don't know if this is a common thing in that area, but on this day there were a shit ton of bees, so if that's the case when you go, make sure you plan accordingly. Now at this point we were well into the morning and it was nearing the high 90s, so the only thing left to do was to head back to our Airbnb and enjoy some time in our cowboy pool. Good morning.
Good morning. I had a feeling you were going to be videoing.
What did you think about the park yesterday?
I thought it was nice.
You did? You did?
I mean, it's all the same.
It's
If that's what you mean.
well, yeah, that would be kind of what I mean.
Yeah, that's pretty much. But it's very nice, though. I love cacti.
Yeah.
So.
Are you glad to be seeing Joshua trees?
Yeah, they make me happy. Things are changing.
How so?
You won't even throw my nose on your shirt or take the beach thing for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it makes me pretty terrible, huh?
things are changing.
I guess so. Had to change at some point, right?
I mean, that's what happened with that.
Just a pain in the ass. What do you think?
Is there a better view of it?
Hot as shit in here.
It's cute though.
It is. So the bike saga continues. A little while ago, I called up a local bike shop and wanted to find out about the turnaround time for getting now both of my tires fixed, figuring out what the hell is going on with them. So I called, nobody answered. Their hours aren't posted online, but it's only an 8-minute drive away, so I figured just go check it out. Head over there, and the address is someone's house. Now, it's clear that they run the shop out of their house, but it didn't seem like anybody was working there. I'm not entirely sure what was going on. So now we drop the bike back off and we're gonna go see an art thing. More than ever, I'm tempted to seriously get rid of the bike. I don't feel like dealing with it anymore. And then there's the whole matter of fixing the bike rack.
Right.
Never ending. It's never ending with this fucking thing. And again, it's my bike, that's the problem. It's not your bike. Your bike is fine. Your bike is really causing no issue. It's mine. Whatever, what are you gonna do?
In Snow Hill, Alabama in 1917, assemblage artist Noah Purifoy lived and worked most of his life in LA and Joshua Tree, California. His earliest body is this body of sculpture constructed out of charred debris from 1965 Watts Rebellion. Was the basis for 66 Signs of Neon, the landmark 1966 group exhibition on the Watts riots that traveled throughout the country. In 1989, Purifoy moved his practice from LA to Joshua Tree. From 89 until his death in 2004, he filled 10 acres of his high desert studio, an environment with assemblage, sculptures, and installations that synthesized the concerns of his life. Working freely with all kinds of materials and at every possible scale, he pushed himself and his work to create his outdoor desert art museum that continues to attract local, national, and international visitors. It was established in 1999 as an all-volunteer nonprofit foundation with a mission to preserve and maintain the site developed at Joshua Tree. The site now Purifoy, however you say it. I think I'm saying it wrong. Eek.
The wind is pretty bad today, so I don't know if you'll be able to hear me. The place reminds me of, in a way, the UFO lookout point in San Luis Valley in California. If you've ever been to Great Sand Dunes National Park, it's not far from there. There's a bunch of, UFO alien themed art installations and people leave offerings for aliens and whatnot. I'll drop in some pictures of that here. We continued to meander around the property and gaze at all the various artwork, and we took notice of the fact that some pieces have names and some pieces don't. But one thing that was interesting was that some pieces even had a QR code you could scan, and you could see what the piece looked like when it was originally constructed. I'll leave some links down below for the ones that we saw. I go back and forth on this kind of art, personally. I've seen it done very well where people can make some pretty incredible things. They're pretty meaningful. There's a fine line, like that neighbor you have who has all that shit in their yard, old lawnmowers and air conditioning units and things like that. Fine line. But it's still cool. Today is the day that I think I'm gonna get my bike fixed. Back when I was going to school for engineering, they taught you that if it makes noise and it's not supposed to, use duct tape. If it is supposed to make noise but it doesn't, use WD-40. In this case, something was supposed to be attached and it wasn't, so I didn't use duct tape. I used another famous brand of strong tape, and we're gonna see how that holds up. But for now, I am heading over to the bike shop to hopefully get my tires fixed. Just watch the dude trip up the sidewalk. That's no good. Anyway, I'm just here enjoying my daily cortado, it seems. Seems like I've been doing this and a cold brew just about every day. And don't mind that toilet paper that's right there. Karen's been using it for tissues. You know, it's funny. We've been in Joshua Tree for a couple of days now, and I gotta be honest, I think Karen feels the same way. We thought there was gonna be a little bit more, if that sounds strange. I mean, like, there's a couple of shops and, you know, places to get coffee and stuff like that, but by and large, there's not a ton here. It looks visually like what I was expecting. I just figured there would be more stuff here, which is fine. It's not a big deal, just a little bit of a surprise. But then what is a surprise is you drive, you know, 10 minutes up the road into Yucca Valley, and it's like just typical suburbia. Your tea, my lady.
Oh, thank you.
So my bike is ready.
Okay.
So I'm gonna head back out there.
Okay.
What are you doing?
How are you?
Oh, you're doing a workout. I'm thinking you had fucking Tubi on or something. You're doing a workout. Okay, well, enjoy. Let's go see how my bike looks. So the bike made it back, safe and sound. Made another sourdough loaf this morning. She came out pretty well too. Pretty pleased. What are your sort of general thoughts on Joshua Tree?
It's desert.
Yeah.
I like it. It's very beautiful. I love the trees. I can take a picture of the trees, every tree all day long, because there's all different kinds.
Yeah.
I could not live here.
Yeah.
I need water.
Yeah.
It's too deserty for me. It's too... I mean, it's beautiful. I would come back and visit in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But I cannot live here.
Yeah.
I have never felt more distant from water than I have this past 2 weeks.
And the irony is we're closer to an ocean than we have been in quite some time.
Well, it sure doesn't feel like that.
We're now the closest we've been since we left.
Well, that's why my urge to be on the ocean or near the ocean is strong.
Yeah. What about the town itself of Joshua Tree?
I mean, it's cute.
Yeah.
There's not much here.
Yeah, I was sort of saying that to camera before.
I was kind of surprised with how popular it is that there's not as much here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you go a little bit further to the Yucca Valley, and then there's back to civilization.
That's one way to put it, yeah. Well, we have one more day.
Yeah, but I don't think I'll be in that pool today because of the bobcat scare this morning.
Yeah, I didn't talk about this yet. So this morning we're having coffee and tea here. Karen's getting ready to go get her nails done. And right along our front porch here goes running some sort of feline animal.
Large.
It was, yeah, so it had a bunch of spots. It wasn't huge, but it was definitely bigger than your average house cat. The current speculation is that it was maybe a bobcat. We're not entirely sure, but...
The fact of the matter is, I was sitting on that couch not even 20 minutes before, no, it was before you got up. I was sitting outside, getting some sun on my face, and then it came on deck.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck?
Came on the deck after she was inside. And she's like, Bryan, what the hell is that thing? I go outside with my knife, like that's gonna fucking make a difference. And I go outside with it thinking like, you know, I'm ready for the cat. And then over, I'll show you. Right over on the edge of that fence right there is where he paused, looked back at me, and then jumped into that yard. We didn't see him again after that. Now, it's not lost on me that this could just be a feral cat that had some spots and has maybe been through a few rough times, and that's kind of it. But it's more the size thing that I think is throwing us a little bit with this particular feline. So
I will not be in the cowboy pool today, I don't think. And not unless you're out there with me.
With my knife, of course, for protection. Well, I'm off. Do you have any last words?
Eyebrows, too.
Okay. Bye. I love you. I'm off to do something I haven't done in a little over 2 months now. But really, it's more like 4 years. So 4 years ago, summer of 2020, it was height of the pandemic, but it was at a point where things were kind of starting to open back up a little bit. Businesses were starting to open back up. And it was around that time that I started to go to my current barber, Eddie. I went to him just before we left on this adventure, and that was at the end of May. It's now July 31st as of recording this. I've not gotten a haircut since. Karen is beside herself. You know, she doesn't love my hair long, particularly on the sides, and I'm not one to do anything fancy with my hair. I haven't been to a new barber in over 4 years. Prior to that, for like 6 months, I just hadn't cut my hair. But now I'm also at a point where not only am I going to a new barber, I also don't really know what he's gonna do to my hair when I say that I want it short on the side. Part of me wants to just buzz everything off. I was instructed before not to chop off all my hair. Sorry, I'm trying to make a turn here. And instead, try to do something a little bit better than that. We're gonna see what it looks like. I'm very nervous. I'm not one to get nervous about a lot of things, like at all, but I'm really nervous about this. I don't know, worst case scenario, I'll just shave it all off. Here we go. All right, well, my hairs are cut. I'm sure Karen will be thrilled. Shout out to Scott at Fatty's Barbershop in Yucca Valley, whatever that town next to Joshua Tree that starts with a Y. That place, California. You know, while I was cutting my hair, I got talking to Scott about the whole adventure that Karen and I are on, and we quit our jobs and we're traveling and all this stuff. We're trying to figure out what's next for us. It's always cool when you meet random people and they're just supportive of the journey that you're on. Not that anyone's necessarily going to be openly shitty towards you, but when people are actively enthusiastic for you about it, there's definitely an element of reassurance that, like, one, there's good people out there, and two, you're making the right call for yourself. Scott was telling me about the journey he was on after he had been bought out of his apartment in San Francisco, and how he moved down here and drove cross country in his old truck. It was a good talk. It was cool. It was like, you know, talking to somebody who gets it. I very much appreciated it. Definitely needed to have a conversation like that. It was nice. So I've heard nothing for the last several weeks other than passive-aggressive comments about how I need to get my hair cut. The moment of truth. We're gonna see the reaction right now. I'm back.
Oh, there you are.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Are you just saying that for the camera?
No. Did he cut your eyebrows?
He cut them down, yeah.
Good.
Didn't shape them necessarily, but, well.
I like it.
So you still got complaints?
No,
You still got complaints?
No, I like it. It's not as short on the sides as you had gone before. But I like it. It
You
looks
did
nice
it.
and
I think you
clean.
did it 2. Maybe you did 3. You might have done it 3.
I think it's right.
Because all the hair's raining down.
Aw. Looks good.
About time, is that what you said?
Yes.
So because we're not able to control ourselves when it comes to sourdough, I've now got another one started. So I'll be baking that first thing in the morning before we leave. And right now we are going to check out I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's like an old town, and I may or may not be allowed to film there. So we're gonna see how that goes. So if there's footage, you'll know I was allowed to film. If not, then we'll see you in a little while. We're not really sure what's here, but we're here. It's old-timey looking. Not that I have a drone, but I can't fly it here. Let's go to the film museum. I'm not really sure what's going on.
It's fine. It's just their job. It looks like they got some kind of manager with them.
Yeah, it's
saying,
definitely.
"Let's get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, it's definitely some kind of sketchy management, pushy, not so savory situation. You just hope it's nothing, bad. It's goddamn hot out here, I'll tell you that much. They don't have AC here in Pioneer Town. I guess this town was at one time a setting for a lot of old Hollywood Western movies. Some productions would come film out here instead of going to other places in the desert, a little closer to LA. That's about all I know. So we stopped in a little pottery shop. The guy who runs it's really nice. Karen got a nice mug. When it was time to check out, there's a little thing on the counter that says ring bell for assistance.
I have a hard time doing that.
Even though it says it's to ring the bell, it still feels like disrespectful in a way.
Yeah, so I didn't do it. We just waited.
So we just waited for somebody to see us.
And it worked.
And it worked. And we got out of there 10 minutes later. Nice guy. Told us about how he gets the designs on the side of the mug. I'll drop in a shot of the mug. Karen pointed out it's like the first real souvenir that we've bought on this trip. Good on you for finally pulling the trigger.
Yep.
Apparently, I guess this is like an active film production studio, so they don't want any kind of like unpermitted commercial filming. So we're curious if that gaggle of women was permitted or not. I'm thinking not.
Probably not, if I had to guess, with the classiness of them.
With the what?
Classiness of their members.
That wasn't nice. They're a cool looking place, and it would definitely be like, it would make sense for, things to be shot here. I'm getting like big Clint Eastwood vibes. My dad used to watch old Clint Eastwood movies, and this feels like something straight out of one of those. I think there's about to be a gunfight at any moment. We're back now. So every day for the month of July, Aaron and I have gotten at least 10,000 steps per day. Most days we've shattered that number. Today though, since we did not hike and we did more errands and chores and whatnot today, we are well behind that number. We kind of handle these situations differently. For example, I'm gonna go for a jog. Karen will hop and dance around the kitchen. We're getting our steps in either way, which is good, but again, two different approaches, right?
Yeah, it's too hot right now for me.
It is hot. I'm not really looking forward to that, honestly, but gotta get it done. Well, good morning. So we are departing Joshua Tree today, and before we go, I decided I needed to make another loaf of sourdough, but we got the idea yesterday to try and make like a cinnamon raisin one, and this is how it looks. And I'm actually quite pleased with how the bread itself came out. It popped up nice. Now those are charred raisins on top, which isn't ideal, and they don't taste very good either, but the bread itself looks pretty good. Freestyled the recipe, didn't really follow anything in particular. In other news, no bobcat sightings today. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're going to be heading a little more out towards the coast today. Atascadero is the actual town we're staying in. It's the first cloudy day we've had since we've been to California. It's weird, it's like almost humid out. It's not, but it feels humid, which is not a welcome feeling in my eyes.
How they got to the top?
Because I just folded everything. So when I score it, it's basically just cutting through what I folded, which happens anyway when you make the dough. But they taste pretty bad.
Okay, fine.
Okay. That's 2 days in a row I made bread. I feel like I could be making loaves almost every day. How's the haircut looking this morning? I'm not shaving. It's not happening.
I give up.
You give up.
You do
That's
what you want
that's
to
a
do.
little dramatic.
You do what you want
That's
to do.
a little dramatic. Well, we officially cut into the bread, and she looks pretty good. The cinnamon and the raisins didn't get distributed quite the way I would have wanted them to. But again, bread itself looks good. I'm pretty pleased with that. Can always work on the distribution of ingredients later. How does it taste?
It's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You actually like it?
Yeah.
Well, we're about to depart for the first time in a couple of weeks. We won't be in the desert, which will be lovely. I believe a challenging landscape is good for you. It forces you to exist in a way that is outside your comfort zone. In our case, the heat in the desert challenged us to truly seek out and appreciate the beauty that lies within. It also gave me some of the best coffee I've had in quite some time. And though it may not be where we ultimately want to end up, the desert is a place we will definitely return. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, love you. Bye.